not only 50%. Why do we know that the UN have meeting yesterday? Is it not social media? Why do we know that the vice president spoke there? Is it not social media? Without social media, how can we know what Tinubu is saying? Who is arguing that Peter Obi is not more popular? Why I'm saying that is that the person knows the truth. If you open your opera or any place you want to read news, and Nigerian news, count, please go and do it now. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 news. If Peter Obi does not show in 3, in that 5, Peter Obi will be 3 in any news you want to read. So saying whether Peter Obi will win the election if they contest today, he's not going to win. I support Peter Obi 100% because I can call him, I can fast check him. You understand? I can ask him question. You understand? His government we can checkmate. But Peter Obi will not win this election if he contests it today. Why? Because the system is gaining.
I can't
All
see
right,
him. Chief Kabbalah has
it's
dropped.
not, but he's here. He's showing here that he's on the speaker section. Okay,
No, you
let's
can see
have.
him, but he's not there. So if I cannot see him,
Hmm.
I doubt that he's there, and that's why he's not speaking.
All right, can we pass the mic to Engineer Kashim? I think if I get the name right, Engineer Kashim.
Yeah, thank you, Mindset. Good evening,
Good evening,
Nigeria.
sir.
Yes, sir. I think the leaders of ADC are not be sincere with themselves. I don't know where they get their own political calculation from. I think if they want to win the election, only Peter Obi can, defeat Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I came from the middle belt, and if it is stand for Atiku, I think all of us are going back to vote Bola Ahmed Tinubu to remain in power. Atiku cannot. So let them not deceive themselves that they have David Mark or have some other people from the middle belt, that are going to give them the election. They are lying to themselves. If they truly want a change and want a leadership, that no, we want to take this thing from the ruling party, Peter Obi is the only option. If not, if all of them will lose the election. I yield. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Kashim, for your submission. Let me quickly ask you a question. If it's safe for you to respond, please do go ahead. Okay, you mentioned Peter Obi should be the right person for them to give the ticket to. Now, there are other candidates there. It's not only Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar. That we have the likes of Chibika Mechi who have said he's going to run. Then, okay, let me just add this one. You saw the picture of Goodluck Jonathan. What happens if Peter Obi did not get a ticket? Then someone like Goodluck Jonathan or Chibika Mechi gets the ticket. What would you do? Will you still go back and vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Like I said, good luck. Jonathan is coming back to power. It's not coming to to save Nigeria. It's coming for the same set of people that also work, that set of people, the same cabal, in PDP them are coming with. So I decided to go with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, despite that the insecurity in the middle belt, is high. I will go with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And about Amechi cannot even go anywhere. He cannot even win Port Harcourt, so there is no talk about it.
All right. That's Engineer Kashim's view. As we continue the conversation, OVIE, OVIE. We have the mic, sir. Good evening.
Thank you, Sam Myset. Thank you for always giving us a platform and every other people that gives us platform on Twitter to speak our mind, as we don't have money to go to media. So you see this issue of Lord Jonathan coming back. Like what I said, Lord Jonathan should just remain and maintain his good name. Let it just sit in his house. First of all, I don't know why Goodluck Jonathan is coming out now. Since he left power, he has not spoken anything about the opposition. He has been doing
Sorry,
gentleman
Obi.
now.
Let me come in here. I do apologize for interrupting your speech. Now, the conversation is not all about Goodluck Jonathan. The conversation is about ADC, the statement they put out there, the comments out there about giving Peter Obi and other leaders in the ADC the ultimatum to join the ADC. So I think we have discussed Goodluck Jonathan. The reason I ask Mr. Kashim that question is because he mentioned Peter Obi and he said Atiku Abubakar, or then he will go to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Hence, I put those two other names there to see if that will make him change his mind. So the conversation is about ADC and the statement of giving Peter Obi and other leaders in the ADC the ultimatum to come out and join, or if you want to start from there, that's fine. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mindset, for redirecting me. So what I'm saying concerning this ADC, Peter Obi, and the statement there, you see, I think if Peter Obi have said it, and it has been made that there was an agreement that was made that after the election, that because right now they have Anambra election, and the question I'm even asking is there are people like Erufai that have not even left SDP. And Peter Obi, I don't know why Peter Obi matter is just the primary focus, because Peter Obi has an election to run in Anambra State, having a candidate in the Labour Party. And you know Anambra State has a candidate, ADC has a candidate in Anambra. So I don't think it will be fair, because if Obi leave Labour Party indirectly, if he's going to be supporting the Labour Party governorship candidate, he's going to be like he's doing anti-party, like what people say. So I don't think it's the right thing to do. So that one that ADC are saying, this is some of the reasons why we are even saying that can this ADC be trusted, because I believe there was an agreement that let these people finish their election, then they can come in fully. I believe there was that agreement, as we have seen on the public space. So if they are not coming back and trying to do this, I believe they are now speaking from a postman. And you see this issue of Peter Obi and all of that. I think it will be very unfair. Anybody comes here to say Peter Obi is not popular. Everywhere within the states, Peter Obi is popular, and even the places that Obi Rich was not even there. Let's use that word. Peter Obi is gaining ground more and more in those places. And this 20, the reason why I don't want to stress myself over much of these issues, Peter Obi have said it not once, not twice, not even tried that he's going to run. So if Peter Obi said he's going to run, he's telling you that whether coalition or there, whether it's through the ADC or not. And I believe that is why the guy is taking his time to do his political calculation and all of that. Because as we speak now, the only person that can really say we can defeat Peter Obi is the only person that can defeat this current government is Peter Obi. And you know, Peter Obi has the masses. Yes, we need the ADC because we also need this coalition, because when we are more, the fight can easily be won. We are not disputing that fact. But if the ADC, and one of the reasons why the ADC gained ground among the youthful population of Nigeria was because Peter Obi was in that coalition. That is one of the things that even made this ADC coalition becoming a bride. And just a few days ago, somebody was asking, what can this ADC offer? And many people were trying to say probably Obi is there and all of that. So many people are looking as Obi as the hope of that coalition. But if they know what they are doing, and I believe if they really have, and just to refresh our mind, this was what happened in before the 2023 election, when the people were clamoring that PDP should give them Peter Obi. I believe that ADC should be good students. Everybody that is part of that coalition should be good student of history, and they should now we are clamoring again that give all this person, because we know this person have the masses, and even if they want to, for them to even save their money, Peter Obi is the best. And I can tell you that Peter Obi is going to be the person that have the heart of the people at heart. First of all, it might not, like, I don't believe Peter Obi will come and be the messiah of Nigeria, but I believe he's going to strengthen our institution and set us on the right path in our government, and the little he can do is going to do them. And I can tell you for a fact that many young people are still coming in because of Peter Obi. Many people are crossing their leg and they are knowing. And for the statement that Tankos put out, anybody they will say that will think that statement is, because I've seen some people on this timeline, they are calling the guy some sorts of name. I believe the guy has spoken my mind. I don't know of others. The tweet was right, and he has done what needs to be done. They don't think that Peter Obi that is doing everything, he does not know what he's doing. So myself, thank you, Aid. If ADC is going to win the election, Peter Obi is going to be the man. Thank you, Aid.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ovi. Right, thank you for your wonderful submission. Let me respond to some of the things you said. Your view is respected as well. I do not think the statement by Tanko is the best statement that, I do not think that he needs to put that statement right now. Even if he wants to put that statement, the way it's worded, for me, this is my view, right? I don't think there's nothing in that statement. It's just nothing. It's just like pouring water on a rock. That's my view, right? I'm speaking from a political angle. For me, there is nothing. The statement doesn't say nothing. It just writes full page tweet and everything. There is nothing there, right? I would have preferred a situation whereby he kept quiet and, take his time and write this thing and put it properly. 2 or 3 lines is enough. This thing that he put is nonsense, absolutely nonsense. You gave the ADC what the ADC is looking for. They want you to react, and you have reacted. What have you got from it? Absolutely nothing, right? Now, in the sense that ADC can choose Peter Obi, if they want to choose Peter Obi, that's up to them. If they decide they want to choose him, that's up to them. But I really like the point that you made, because politics is neither one, or it's not 1 + 1 in politics is not 2. Right? People can put numbers together and give you 70. That's what politicians do. Now, anybody that's followed politics will understand that Peter Obi has a candidate in Anambra State that he's supporting. And then you have others who are members of the coalition, right? Who don't even have a candidate they're supporting in the upcoming election. And you're telling me, you want me to believe that in that meeting, the names were mentioned, not only his name. Who is the target here? I don't know where you guys are, if you guys see where I'm coming from. So when somebody is saying no, but he's not the only person there, but he is the only person who has a candidate in Anambra State. It's either those in coalition want to be honest to themselves, or they want to continue to share shadows. I wish them well. But if Ima is here, I would have loved for him to respond. I know he doesn't want to say a lot of things, like myself. I don't want to say the little that I know. But you cannot tell me in good conscience that, you have a meeting and you know this person that's a candidate in Labour Party he's supporting, and you decided that, okay, every other person will do. So you want him to abandon his candidate. Who else have a candidate? Please tell me. Can somebody tell me who else have a candidate they're supporting? Right? And because of that, mindset is carrying an agenda against ADC. I wish you guys well. On that note, I'll pass the mic to who else do we have? I think we have Elnet and John. If anybody's struggling to come up on speaker section, please do request for the mic or put a comment on the comment section. Myself or Roy will try and bring you up. Nathan, you have the mic.
Hi, Mindset. I hope you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
Good evening. I mean, first I will say that I think that the pressure on Peter Obi to pick a side, whether Obi or Atiku and all the others, the ruling class achieves clarity on the battlefield when this is done. So by forcing Obi and others to choose sides early, it makes the governing incumbent get clarity on who they are going to fight. This means that the incumbent can consolidate its resources, they can plan targeted attacks, and they can avoid surprises closer to the election. Now, what this also does is that it fractures the potential coalitions, right? The current punishment that is being threatened on the candidates' delay or hesitation makes it difficult for opposition voices to build any kind of third force outside the big parties. I want to talk about what I call like the trap of the elite paradigm, right? Which is that, Nigeria's political elite has perfected the art of making the opposition play by the rules that they set, whether it's party structures, funding flows, or even the internal primaries that is dominated by the godfathers, not by Nigerian voters. The game is being played on their own terms. Unfortunately, even so-called reformist politicians like Peter Obi end up working with these sort of patronage-heavy systems. And I've mentioned once before on your space mindset that I think that Obi himself has capitulated. I currently don't see Obi as different from any of the politicians running now, because he's playing their game and he has to play their game. And if you know how politics works in Nigeria, to get whatever ticket Obi will get, he will have to make compromises, he will have to make sacrifices, he will have to make promises to people who hold the reins of power. Obi by himself, given the current very, very corrupt and completely state-controlled institutions, cannot win elections in Nigeria without other power brokers, which is why he's there in the first place, cavorting with people that he has called corrupt, cavorting with people that he has called terrible politicians, people that he has claimed are the reason why Nigeria is where it is today. So the question is, why is Obi in a room with Atiku and El-Rufai? Why is there the potential that El-Rufai might even be on the ballot with Obi or people like that? And why do Nigerians still believe that this kind of coalition business is what will rescue them from the current absolutely disastrous governance that we have in Nigeria? I think what saddens me is not the maneuvering of the elite, but how Nigerians have resigned that this is the only thing they can get. Why have Nigerians as a group decided that this is the best they can get? That this is the only thing they can work with? That they can only work with things like ADC, which has the same composition of the. I mean, look at it, David Mark, like somebody who is deeply entrenched in the most corrupt of corrupt Nigerian systems. And we're talking of somebody who has been in it since the time of the military, when there was unfettered corruption. These are the people that Obi is playing with today. And Nigerians have been exhausted by these decades of corruption and disappointment, but they are normalizing this elite dominance by even discussing this coalition, by discussing it seriously. We are like fighting each other. ADC, no, APC, no, this. Nigerians, as far as I'm concerned, are not ready for change. With the way, like when I read news from Nigeria, I wonder why Nigerians gather to talk about ADC or APC, and why Nigerians are not saying things like, do people enjoy the kidnappings? Do they enjoy the killings and the deaths? Do they enjoy watching the children of these politicians buy mansions, buy Lamborghinis? Do they enjoy like watching this while they cannot travel safely to their own villages? So I think that, again, like in conclusion, like I said in the beginning, the incumbent knows that Nigeria's fractured opposition is their greatest asset. And by ensuring that these alternatives are pushed early, divisive choices, become the goal. And the ruling elite can preserve elite continuity. And that's what we are all fighting for by discussing this ADC thing. We are fighting for elite continuity, because Obi is not working outside the paradigm, he's working within it. A system where power shifts hands, but the structures remain intact. Do we really think that if Obi gets a ticket, together with whether people like support from people like Atiku or Erufai or Amechi or all of that, that somehow Nigeria will just, when Obi wins the election, he will just change and drop all these people and suddenly become a great president? No, he will begin paying back all the people that supported him. He will begin paying back all of the people that helped him to cripple Tinubu's state capture of INEC, that will help him cripple Tinubu's capture of state resources. It's not Nigerians that will give Obi the election. It's not your votes, because we all know that the Supreme Court is captured by the incumbent. We know that INEC is captured by the incumbent. The only way Peter Obi can win the election if he aligns with equally strong politicians who can break Tinubu's hold on INEC, Tinubu's hold on the Supreme Court, Tinubu's hold on all of government institutions, in a way that will remove him from power. So I say Nigerians are not ready. When they are ready, they will begin talking about anything outside elite consensus. But for now, I just think that Nigerians are not ready yet. We are mostly complicit with the nonsense that's happening, and we are finding ways to survive. When we stop finding ways to survive, and we truly, truly want it, we will not be talking about any of these people anymore. We will instead be talking about breaking the structures that has kept Nigeria in captivity since its formation. Thank you, Mindset.
Thank you very much, and Nathan John, for your wonderful submission. For those of you who have not followed him, please, you can follow him on Twitter. He's an author. He has written quite a number of books. So if you want to read some interesting books, you might want to follow him, and it would actually, help you to some of the book that he wrote. So Nathan, let me quickly respond to some of the things that you said. You see, for me, the way I looked at politics, morally, a lot of things that politicians do, morally, one would look at it and say it's not right, but politically, that's what they have to do. What do I mean by that? One of my favorite books, I think you probably might know the book. It was written, Niccolo Machiavelli, The Prince. You know the book, right? Obviously, you would know. Is Mr. Nathan there?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I know the Prince.
Okay, you know the Prince. So it's one of my favorite books. I mean, I read the Prince and I follow the Prince. It's just like when I see politicians do what they do, I just go back and say, okay, what is this all about? And there was one quote in that book that I really like, say politics have no relation to morals, right? So for one to get themselves in as a politician, there are things that morally people would look at it and say one should not do it. But that's because you find yourself in that position. You have to do it. What do I mean by that? People always mention the fact that Peter Obi should single himself out from some politicians in Nigeria. Yes, morally, one would say that he shouldn't, but politically, he has to, right? He has to. If you really want to play this politics, you have to do these things. All right. He has to meet with people that people will feel disappointed. People will feel, sad to see him hang around with these people. Morally, he might not be right, but politically, he has to do what he has to do. So I do not see, I don't see in my own view, right? I do not see that as a problem politically when I see politicians hanging around with people. There are people I dislike. I don't like the way they have done things, but when there's a politician who feels that, they want to speak to this person and they think there's one vote or two votes that will come from that person, and that's what they have to do to get there. That's what they have to do. If I have a client who asks me on this platform right now, I said, okay, I need somebody that will help me. I'm trying to write a book. I'm trying to write a book now. I need somebody that will help me. Somebody might not like your stance on Peter Obi, but I will direct him. I say, please, there's somebody, Nathan, I think he's the right person for you. They have to work with you because when it comes to writing books, editing these things, you're very good at it. One cannot say because they don't like your view and say they cannot go to the person that will help them. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, sir.
Yes, but can I just very briefly say what I think about that? Just very briefly. Thank you for mentioning the Prince. Can I do that, or you
Yeah,
don't have
please
time?
go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned Machiavelli and the Prince, right? Now, it's a very important question, and this is a question that goes straight sort of to the heart of political philosophy. The question is, do you have to abandon morality to get power, right? And as you said, the prince famously advises that a ruler cannot always act morally if they wish to secure and maintain power. However, I will counter that with Machiavelli's own framework, right? So Machiavelli says, remember in that same book, Machiavelli says, a prince must avoid being hated above all else. Excessive cruelty, corruption, or betrayal can backfire. And the Prince Machiavelli also says, appearing just, merciful, and moral can consolidate legitimacy. So I could argue that in Nigeria today, where young voters are disillusioned by corruption and cynicism, Obi risks alienating his base if he imitates the dirty tactics of entrenched elites. So, in this context, integrity may be the more effective strategy of power, in spite of the fact that, yes, Machiavelli says the prince cannot always act morally. Now, sort of contemporaries of Machiavelli, like Cicero, for example, in his book on duties, talks about true leadership coming from justice and common good and not from deceit. And that a ruler that abandons morality corrodes the republic and loses lasting authority. There's also Aristotle, for example, that says, that the good polity aims at virtue and that politics is an extension of ethics. And to abandon morality is to destroy the very heart of politics, right? So, in applying this to Obi, of course, abandoning morality may gain short term advantage, but it undermines long-term possibility of building a new political culture in Nigeria, right? And in conclusion, I will just say that if you think of books like, Max Weber's Politics as a Vocation, right? It distinguishes between the ethic of conviction rather, right? Which is standing by moral principle, and the ethic of responsibility, which is making compromises for outcomes. Which are the two things we're sort of talking about? The ethic of conviction, moral principle, the ethic of responsibility, making compromises, which you want Obi to do. But Max Weber warns, for example, in that book, that a politician must balance both. Pure immorality corrodes legitimacy. However, pure idealism leads to impotence and lack of power. So while I know that Obi must not navigate compromise, if he fully descends into dirty politics, he becomes indistinguishable from those he seeks to replace. And that's it's not a pushback, it's an addition to sort of what I think is a great idea that you have sort of put forward. This is what I will say to that. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Nathan. This is getting interesting. It looks like we are going to go into books, right? A book review. But then again, let me go back to the Prince. And then there was one quote that Machiavellian used on that Prince that I think a lot of politicians, the likes of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I think it's a Machiavellian in my own view. People might disagree. That quote is that it's better to be feared than to be loved if you cannot have both, right? Because when somebody fears you, then obviously they have no reason not to love you and everything. Why do I say that? Sometimes one would look, it would appear that a politician is so much loved, but people are not scared of him or her, right? Then that will work, to their disadvantage because people are very close to them. But when somebody fears you, this is what Machiavellian was saying, the Prince. So morality is very important as humans, it's very important. But for politicians, what we see as morality, for them, they see it as politics. So, I mean, I would want to agree with you. Yes, it's good to have moral, and I would agree with you on that. But thank you very much, Nathan, for coming on the platform. It's very, very, very interesting to have conversation like this. Is why we have spaces, right? Okay, let's go back. If you disagree with myself or what Mr. John said, please quickly raise your mic, raise your hand, and we would allow you to air your view. If you want to add anything. If not, I think we have come to the conclusion of this platform, of the spaces this evening. If you disagree, all right, please, if there's anybody, I can see 4 requests. Are we able to bring these guys up? Because that's not
I was waiting for you. I was waiting for your direction and timing. If we still have time, of course, I'll bring them up.
I mean, it's 9 o'clock, so I think we can continue because there are people who would like to add to conversation, please. Thank you. Do we have any other speaker that wants to contribute? Mr. Ezekiel, have you contributed to this? Do we have any other person that would like to add anything?
I have not said my own contribution.
Okay, sir, please go ahead.
Okay, let me start by saying that the conversations have been interesting this evening. So, in politics, many things can play out. Starting from the statement ADC put out, it might be a trick to see what the ruling party will say. And also in the side of Peter Obi, the obedient movement that put out a statement, they made a very fatal mistake that they shouldn't have said anything at all. You would have come down, analyze, see, make calls, know what is going on before you come. You don't just rush out and put statement anyhow. Because you have phone at hand, you have data, you can't just come out. A simple mistake will destroy everything that people have been planning for a long time. So in terms of, I'm seeing it in another angle, that the statement that ADC put out might be in form of distraction, just to say that let's see how the ruling party will react. Yeah, because I know truly well that they know that Anambra state election is next month, and Peter Obi has a candidate that he's supporting, he can't just abandon what he's supposed to do in his own state when somebody that will be the governor, somebody that will be his governor, and leave it and start pursuing. They said the charity begins at home. If we lose the state, let me assume that he lose the state, people will mock him, or even if he win the state, people will still congratulate him. But you have to give him time to put his house in order before you start putting pressure on him. But I see that statement is like distraction. In terms of popularity, who is more popular, this, that, and that. If Peter Obi is not popular, if Peter Obi is not the key factor of that coalition, the ruling party will not be attacking him. Anything he says, anywhere he goes, anything he do, even if he breathes, even if he cough, anything he says, everywhere Peter Obi, Peter Obi, Peter Obi. If he's not that popular, nobody will be talking about him. So he's the key factor for that coalition. Without him, there is nothing like coalition. And true, Peter Obi cannot do it alone. If he try it alone, nobody wins. Tinubu wins. He need both good and bad. Like what my brother is saying that Peter Obi don't need to mingle with those this thing. After that, he can't change Nigeria. He will start paying them this or that. True is true, but for you to get to that stage, you need them. You can't do it alone. Nobody, you can't defeat them alone if you try it alone. I've already tried it. You see what plays out. So that is my own submission. He can't do it alone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sam, for your wonderful submission. Just on the side note, are you all obedient or you support Labour Party? Let me know how to respond to this thing that you said.
Yeah, I'm obedient.
All right.
But what the statement the man dropped is a very fatal.
No, forget
It's a mistake.
Don't worry about that. I wanted to know if just to let you know your candidate in Anambra State is not going anywhere. I hope you understand that. So he might not sit well with you. You're not it's not going to happen. There are some things. I mean, okay, let's not say nothing is impossible, but just let you know the candidate Peter Obi supporting in Anambra is not going to win anything right there. So just don't put your hopes so high. That's my own. That's what I would like. You don't, put so much hope on that he would win anything. That's not going to happen. Now, Peter Obi is popular. There is no question about it. Anybody that wants to disagree that he's not popular, I can't tell anybody not to disagree. And the whole thing about putting that statement, for me, the little I know, I used to word the little I know why they put it out, and ADC knows what they are doing, right? They know what they are doing. It's left for Peter Obi if he wants to be part of the ADC, if he wants to work with the ADC. That's his own decision. I'm not contesting to be a governor, neither am I contesting to be the president of Nigeria. But I know what ADC did with that statement. People might say they don't know, it's nothing, it doesn't concern anybody. I choose not to argue with people. I don't even respond to tweets anyway, so I don't argue with people. All I do is just make my tweet or comment spaces, and we have this conversation, and we see that and see how it plays out. All right? One of the reasons why you see some of them are really angry because, they don't think people should speak about this thing. But I'm not a member of the ADC. Neither am I a member of the Obedience. So I can speak my mind. That's me. All right? So do we have any other speakers? Roy, how are we getting on? Okay, we have one person here, Mr. Daniel. Daniel, you have the mic. Good evening, sir. Daniel, you raise your hand.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mindset. Good evening, everyone on this space. I'm so grateful to be here this night. This issue of ADC giving Peter Obi ultimatum, I don't think Mr. Tanko. I think Mr. Tanko is too quick to respond to such ultimatum. Then the area of ADC, Peter Obi supporting Labour Party instead of ADC in Anambra State coming election. I don't think that's supposed to be a problem because at the end of the day, Apoga will going to have the day. Apoga will going to have the day. All what I know and what I believe, what they are doing and what they really want is that they want to know where Peter Obi belongs. Because up to today, Peter Obi is still participating in activities in Labour Party, and at the same time, he's participating in activities in ADC. So they want to know his stand. I used to tell people this particular this particular coalition. I used to tell people about it. It is obvious that the coalition will not go to favor Obi, and it is very very obvious that Atiku sees Obi as a sycamore tree for him to become, because at the end of the day, their plan is that they will go to give Atiku the ticket, then Obi will be the deputy to him. Because without Obi, Atiku cannot win election in this country. Right now, no one. If Obi deputize Atiku, definitely they're going to have the day. They will win the election, whether you like it or not. Those two people will defeat Mr. President, the current president of Nigeria. But the truth is that if Obi go for deputy again, when are we going to get it right? Because at the end of the day, Mr. Atiku will be there for 8 years. Then after 8 years, is that after that 8 years that Obi will come back again to contest? So I don't see any reason why Obi supposed to accept that coalition in the first place. But the truth is that Obi alone cannot win this election in Nigeria. Obi alone cannot win it, because what happened in the last election have shown that Obi cannot stand alone and do this whole thing on his own. Only him. It's not possible. It's not possible. For the supporters of Obi, like where one of the speakers said initially, for the fact that Atiku have seen that he is the one that's supposed to rule this country, or maybe he must rule this country by all means one day. The problem in this country will not going to end soon. The corruption, the leader, the people that are ruling now, that we are seeing that they are not doing the right thing, is not going to end soon, because this selfish interest is too much. The selfish interest is too much. They are not after the problem on ground in this country. No one of them, from the Atiku, Amechi, and the other person, or the Jagaban himself, no one of them is coming to rescue Nigeria from what we are facing in this country. No one of them. They are just coming from their for their pocket. They are coming for their children. They are coming for their grandchildren, not for the interests of Nigerians. And it's very, very bad. It's unfortunate that Jagaban is going to continue, because from what he's playing now, for good luck, I don't think good luck is not coming out from my view. He's not coming. Good luck is not coming. For good luck to visit the mark, I think good luck is trying to sell Obi, to my own thinking. I think he's trying to sell Obi to ADC, and ADC will never accept that. They will never accept that, because the purpose of that coalition is Atiku, and without Atiku, I think that coalition will not go anywhere. They will find another means to make sure they destabilize everything, so that everybody will go back to where they came from. Maybe the ones that came from APC will go back to APC. The one that came from PDP will go back. Then Labour Party will go back. So at the end of the day, Jagaban is going to have the day. There's no two ways about it. The solution to what is on ground now, the solution to what is happening in Nigeria now is Obi. They know it very well. But this selfish interest of Atiku will never gonna allow them to do the right thing. And it's very, very obvious.
Okay.
It's very, very obvious. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel, for your wonderful submission. There is absolutely nothing wrong if Atiku or anybody wants to run. I don't see that as a problem. Okay, let me repeat myself. They want to form a coalition, right? They decided they decided, every one of them, they sat down, they said, okay, we are all going to work together for me. There is absolutely nothing wrong in them saying we are going to have this coalition and we're going to decide Atiku wants to run, Chibuike wants to run, and everybody, it is ambition, and every one of them have the right to check their ambition. My problem here is this, it's just, as I said, not everything is meant to speak publicly on spaces, right? It's when, you know, it appears that people have made up their mind of how they want things to play out. That's my problem. But for anybody in the coalition that says they want to contest, let them go out there, contest freely, you know, openly, and do their thing. Whatever they want to give the ticket, if Peter Obi decides, it's Peter Obi's decision. If he decides he wants to deputize Atiku Abubakar, that is still Peter Obi's decision. But the thing for me that I don't see well with me is when, you know, it appears things has been decided already and people make one look stupid, right? I want to make it very clear. You know, Atiku wants to run. That's nothing stops him from running. It's his right to run. He's a Nigerian. He has every right to run. Chibuike wants to run. That's fine. So I want to put it out there that there's nothing wrong in those individuals running. And there's something else that you said I would like to respond to, but I have to be very mindful. You talk about good luck, Jonathan. Don't be very sure of everything that you hear. Okay, don't be very sure. Just, you know, just watch and see what's being played, what is playing out. It might look like a movie to a lot of people. There's a lot of things happen behind the scene, and it will come to a shock to every one of you, right? And then we'll wait and see. As I said, not everything will be said on the speaker, on the public space. But let's continue and let's sit down and watch how everything plays out. Right? If you think Goodluck Jonathan is not serious of contesting, I think you're making a big mistake. I mean, they're not you, sir. The person is making a very big mistake because he's really, really interested in contesting. That is a fact. How he's going to do it, I do not know. But is Goodluck Jonathan considering contesting? 99.9% sure he wants to contest. He can pull out any time. All right? So let's understand what is being played out here. There's a lot of calculation going on left, right, and center. Hence, I you know, I was not really comfortable when people want to play with somebody's intelligence here, right? Let's continue the conversation. Do we have any speaker? Mr. John, you raise your hand.
Yeah, but only if there's no one else speak. If there's any new speaker, let them go before me. But I will go if there's no one speaking.
Thank you. I do not know. Roy, please, do we have any other speaker? Any new speaker?
Mr. Mindset,
I've just let Atiku up, and Big Sam is raising his hand. So Big Sam and Atiku, I've just let Atiku in, and more review is also raising his hand. That's all.
Okay,
Okay, then I can go after them, please. Thank you, Mindset.
All right, so more review, please go ahead, sir.
can I go?
Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I just want to correct an instruction. I know the speaker said that.
Apologize, more review. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, sir.
Okay, audible. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. I want to correct an impression a speaker said, or probably I want to. This is my own view anyway. Like I said earlier on, sorry, Mindset, if anybody is actually interested in my bet, can reach out to me. I know why I'm actually reiterating it again. Yeah, that's for that. Like I said earlier on, I have #1 million to give out to somebody who is interested to say Peter Obi is not popular in Nigeria and is ready to pick a state in each of the region, and I'll pick one state in each of the region, and we'll do an independent body will do a public poll on that. If he beats me, I'll give him straight up. So let me go to my summit. This is my summit. The only reason why I strongly believe that Peter Obi need the coalition, which I know Peter Obi cannot do it on his own, is because of the Nigeria factor, the Nigeria system. You agree with me that in Nigeria system is a place where free and fair contests will not strive. That is the more reason why I said Peter Obi must liaise with the coalition and go. And some person will tell you, is it like of these individuals you want to do things with, people who have questionable characters and all that. But trust me, he need them. The only reason he need them, I'll bring to an analogy right now. I'll tell you for facts that for you to like Peter Obi is a person that is easily marketable across all region. And don't be mistaken, the man talking here is not, I'm not an Igbo man, I'm a Yoruba man from Osun State precisely. And let me give you a record. This man, for what the main reason why we needed these persons in the coalition, because I believe strongly that in every region in Nigeria, there are state gladiators. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, before he became a president, he was one of the state gladiators in the West. We have many like him. Aregbesola, this man from Ekiti State, Fayosha, and all that. These people are state gladiators in the Western region. Same thing, we have state gladiators in places like Northeast and Northwest, and even North Central, South. They are state gladiators. But for you to win an election, to defeat somebody who has a political sagacity like the person like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you need the backing of these gladiators. Why? Because the people on their own, in Nigeria, people on their own, if we're in a foreign land, I will agree with you. US people, the masses there, the citizens there, they can defend their mandate. But right here in Nigeria, we are not a citizen. I strongly align with my mentor, Dele Farotimi, who says we are not a citizen in Nigeria. And I can go on in that direction, but I don't want to split conversation here. Why we need the gladiator is that for you to ring an election in Nigeria as a whole, you need this gladiator who will accomplish the INEC to ring an election. I'll give an instance. INEC was able to ring election to upturn the results of River States in 2023 election was because the likes of Wike was there, who was able to do the undo to upturn Peter Obi for free. Peter Obi was given 35%, I mean 37% in River State. The true reflection of that result, Peter Obi got over 70% in River State. Same thing Peter Obi got in Edo State and in Delta State. Reason why Wike was able to do it was because he's a state gladiator. INEC on their own cannot ring an election in the states. I was in a campaign ground where the likes of Adam Shomole was appealing to people. He's not him himself, but he's actually a political jobbers. They were there 2 weeks to the election, telling people in Auchi Grand that Adam Oshomole is the senator. He is not for the Adam Oshomole was differentiating himself from the likes of Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2 weeks to the election, because he knows at that point in time the only language that the people of Auchi understand was that LP all the way. Do you understand? Adam Oshomole knows that it will be impossible for him to ring a state election in the general contest in favor of the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because at that point in time the people were ready to go extra mile. So I want to ask you today, if you ask yourself purely, everybody should ask yourself, in 2027, who will play the role of Wike in Northeast? Who will play the role of Wike in Northwest? So that is the more reason why we needed the coalition, because this state gladiator, they will stand and defend the people in order not to allow ringing to occur in their states. I strongly believe that in states like Kaduna, where Erufai is, Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not be able to ring the election of upturn the people's votes if the people vote against him. If Erufai will be able to defend the votes, I can tell you for free, state like Kogi, you can do a public poll. Take 10% in Kogi State today. Ask them, who did you vote for? I can tell you, 7 of them will tell you they vote for Labour Party. But at the end of the day, they were able to upturn the results with the likes of Yaya Bello and his ally. So Peter Obi need the coalition, not because in a free and fair contest, he will not win. He will win. You see, Peter Obi will beat any politician today, free and fair. The man is marketable. The man is sellable. It is easy to convince the blind to vote Peter Obi. It is easy to convince the deaf to vote Peter Obi. It is anywhere. It's a product. It's like
sorry, sir. We need to come back to the topic, please. We just appears we are going round the circle. If you can round up quickly, please. Thank you.
Let me round up what I'm actually saying in essence is that the coalition as a team, they knows the truth. The only thing I see different with the coalition people today is that they struggle to agree with the truth. And if you tell me oh fine, Atiku can come and run, but trust me, will Atiku get the organic votes of the average Nigerian across North, South, and Southeast or Southwest? No. Fine, he can get the vote from the North, but tell me who will be the organic votes from the South, and Southeast? I rest my case. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. More Review. I believe I pronounced your name the right way. Now, please, for those who listen to More Review, he's betting 1 million naira, not on this platform. Anything to do with money, I'm not, please. Anybody that is interested with his bets can reach out to him. The bet has absolutely nothing to do with the platform, right? He will figure out how, he would deliver the money to you if you win, or if he wins, he will figure that out. But please, nobody should come to my DM and ask me about any betting, anything to do with money. I say, please, I am not part of it. It's very, very important that I said it, because I know people will always say, myself, what about the 1 million? Anything to do with money, this particular thing, please, I am not part of it, but I thank him for coming up with such suggestion that you want people to put their money where their mouth is. Now, open, I can't pronounce your name, Crime Crack. I'm not sure why you're using the laughing emoji. Somebody is saying his view. You're saying you people have started again. If you're not comfortable with what Mr. Mod you said, you can request for the mic. You put in a laughing emoji. What does that mean? He's selling his candidate. He's saying that Peter Obi will win election. If you think Peter Obi doesn't stand any chance of winning election, raise your hand and tell us why Peter Obi is not. I mean, telling him that you people have started again. What does that mean? Or you have nothing to say. You just want to be on comment section and become a nuisance, right? I don't find that funny. When somebody aired their view, you disagree with them. This is a serious conversation we're having here. This is not a joke. So using a laughing emoji and all those things, I don't think is right. You don't like what the man said, fine. Hey, your view, why are you telling him you people have started again? He believes Peter Obi is popular. I mean, he's right. Peter Obi won River State. Is anybody there to dispute that? Not only Peter Obi won River State, Peter Obi did very, very well in that election. So this nonsense of using laughing emoji and making somebody, I don't condone to such. If you guys want to play and do your kind of spaces where you stay on the comment section and make fun of people, this place might not be for you, please. I want to correct that as well. Let me quickly read out what another person is saying. If you have nothing to contribute on the comment section, do not contribute. Don't use laughing emojis when somebody is speaking, right? The man say his mind. If you don't agree, tell us why you don't agree. This stupid laughing emojis is not, I don't take it. I don't like that. And I hope you stop doing that moving forward. Let's pass the mic to, who else do we have? Who else do we have? We have another person on the platform. Roy, please help me out.
Okay.
Who else do we have? Mr. Okay, let's go with Mr. John then, Nathan. You have the mic since I'm about the person.
Okay, thank you, Mindset. I mean, I really like that you mentioned the prince, because like now you've triggered all my political philosophy in my head. I mean, just at the risk of like belaboring the issue, when Machiavelli wrote The Prince, he was concerned with how rulers survive. And I will connect this to what we're talking about. Of course, his advice was brutal but pragmatic, that appearances of virtue may be useful, but that power often demands certain kinds of cunning, deceit, and force. And yes, like you've argued, in Nigeria today, someone like Peter Obi or any sort of would-be reformer would need to play some dirty politics as others do. Now, we also remember Chinua Achebe's famous claim that the trouble with Nigeria is simply and squarely a failure of leadership. And that seems to confirm this. Like, to find the right leader, you need to have a person who's both shrewd and ruthless, and then maybe Nigeria might work. But I think that Nigeria's crisis runs deeper than either Achebe's leader fixation or Machiavelli's prince can address. Of course, we agree that leadership has failed, but I think that the wound that we have is older, deeper, and more terrifying. And what that wound is the collapse of Nigeria's moral and social fabric. Now, if we think of Obi's 2023 experiment, it was the most remarkable mass movement that Nigeria had seen in decades. Crowds of young urban Nigerians believing for once that a new order was possible, right? He tried it the way of the masses, but he discovered very quickly how easily hope can be rigged out at the ballot box. And like I said earlier, he's now pursuing a different path, stitching together this coalition through elite consensus. The reason why I still sort of question this whole coalition business is that Nigeria's elites are not neutral backers of reform. To bargain with them in the way that Obi might be doing, and I hope that he stops doing, is to inherit their debts. And in the end, his real obligations will not be to the masses who carried him on their shoulders, but to the power brokers who could just as easily cripple him. And I bring back the issue of Goodluck Jonathan in this conversation. Goodluck Jonathan learned this the hard way. A president can be in charge, and especially when that president is from the South and does not have an already made sort of strong backing, the way Tinubu has a little because of his long power in Lagos. Jonathan didn't have that. He learned the hard way that when a president may be formally in charge, but he can be hemmed in by insecurity and violence, fueled by the very networks that are meant to sustain him. And that's what they did to Jonathan. They crippled his presidency. They made him know who the real power brokers are. Nigeria is a complicated country. To truly hold power, every leader must command not just the federal government, but also the army, the security apparatus, and the regional elite, and like somebody mentioned earlier, sort of those state power brokers who already possess enormous access to tools of violence and coercion. Just think of the states in the north and the people who are funding insecurity in the north, the amount of resources they have to bring your government to a standstill. That is precisely the reason why I think that although Machiavellian politics, as you mindset have mentioned, looks attractive, and although it promises survival in this dangerous political terrain of Nigeria, it also reveals a trap that once you have become dependent on these power brokers, as a leader, you cannot act freely on behalf of the people. And I'll round up very quickly. Now, beneath the struggle for power, right, for me, is even something more disturbing, that Nigeria as a whole is a low trust society. Look, in high trust cultures, right, people can do business with strangers, they can believe in institutions, and they can assume good faith. But in low trust cultures, which Nigeria is one, suspicion is at the heart of daily life. You only deal with small circles of your kin, your tribe, and then you second guess everyone. This is Nigeria. Nigerians are afraid of each other. They are afraid to even accept an open cup of water from their relatives in the village. They are afraid to go into business with their cousins. They're afraid of being kidnapped by those who know them. They live in anger. They often turn violent against one another. They burn each other in the streets over slight accusations of theft. They burn each other for religious and ethnic reasons. The deeper question then is not simply who will lead Nigeria, but rather who are we? And what does it mean to be a Nigerian? Why is there no consensus on who is a citizen? What citizenship confers? What obligations the state has towards its people? Why is it that mobs can kill people in the north, burn fellow people in the name of blasphemy without consequence? Why is equal citizenship so frail that Nigerians hesitate to claim it with conviction? And this is why I think that Machiavelli is insufficient for Nigeria. Machiavelli wrote what he wrote in the 1500s, right? He imagined a polity where the challenge was consolidating fragmented power, right, to get stability. Nigeria's tragedy is that power has consolidated many times through military regimes, dominant parties, political dynasties. However, the social fabric has continued to unravel. The lesson is that the problem is not the absence of princes, which was the subject of Machiavelli's The Prince, but the absence of trust. So while dirty politics, like as we are asking Obi to do, might produce leadership, rulers alone cannot create nations. Nigerians, in fact, the reason why it's dangerous to use Machiavelli is because Nigeria's elites have mastered Machiavelli's playbook: cunning, deceit, and manipulation of fear. We already have that fear. We don't need more of it. The state is brittle. Social contract is brittle. So the real work before us is cultural and moral reconstruction, rebuilding trust, fostering a sense of equal belonging across the country, which Nigerians do not have now. We do not feel that we're equal members of society. We believe that some parts of the country have more power than others. Unless we create a civic culture where we are less afraid of each other than the state, Nigerians are more afraid of each other than they are of the government. They are more divided by tribe and faith than they are united by citizenship. And if we do not take this challenge, Nigeria will not benefit from an Obi presidency. And that's why precisely why I'm saying that Obi, who started on this platform of hope and is now capitulating to these so-called princes, must be either pushed back to his base by the people who support him, or the people must find another alternative. We do not need to keep fearing these new princes and saying we need to find another prince who will go to these other princes in the States and beg for power. That's sort of, I want to trigger you a little mindset with this prince issue. I like that you brought it to sort of an intellectual space.
Thank you very much, Mr. John, for your wonderful submission. It's getting interesting. I'm really enjoying this plot spaces today. So let me go back to the prince, because in as much as a lot of people might not like what Machiavellian wrote in the Prince, there's quite a number of things that politicians can use in print, in the book to help themselves. Morality, you can find morality in prints. Politicians find what worked for them. Now, there's one other statement in this prints that I really liked. He said the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around them, which means, in my view, is now let's say somebody like okay, let's say a politician in Nigeria finds himself to become work with quite a number of individuals who, people might not like these persons, right? And they help that person to, they elevate that person to become the president or the prime minister, anyone that is, to become the ruler of the person. And they're going to, now it's left for that person to choose the people around him, which I think is a good thing. So morally, some of these things might not sit well with us as, well, why is this person on Rice's platform? He shouldn't be there speaking. But politically, the person has to be on the platform to speak. So morally, most of the things Obi has done or the people he has spoken to, people might not be comfortable with it. But if we are going with the prince, if he's able to get these people around and they liberate him there, then he has to choose those around him that would advise him. So there are. I mean, I do agree with you, but there are quite a number of things I believe a lot of people, politicians will learn from the prince. There was this guy, gosh, you speak my mind now. Right. There's this guy that I really liked in his I forgot his name. I like to mention people's name. Alistair Darling. I think Roy knows him. Mr. John, you know Alistair Darling. He was
Yeah.
You know him, right?
Yes.
Now, when Tony Blair, who was the Prime Minister of Great Britain then, was doing most of the things he was doing, the brain behind it is Alistair Darling. You agree with me, right? Alistair Darling was so good that he can sell water to you in Eskimo, right? He can sell ice to you. Okay. And I there was an interview of him that I watched, and he was asked a question about how they were able to do these things, and he was able to convince the people. And he mentioned that most of the things that they did, he learned it from the prince. I'm not saying everybody should follow the prince, right? But so you can see how he managed to navigate a lot of waters from the things that he learned. I mean, Tony Blair went to war in Iraq, which he shouldn't. But Alistair Darling was able to convince those, not everyone, quite a number of persons that there was need for them to go to that war. All right. But let me not digress, because if it's other persons that digress now, I would bring them back. But Mr. John, we need to do more of this. We need to look into. I enjoy this platform this evening. It's been really.
Yeah. Can I just say one final thing? Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so I love that you mentioned this, because people mention the prince a lot, right? And all the quotes that you've brought out, I think that for every quote, we can find an alternative that produces a better result, right? When you mentioned it's better to be feared than to be loved, right? My counter was that Nigerians already know fear. They know fear not just of their rulers, but of each other, right? And we have mutual suspicion and social decay. So in Nigeria, a prince who rules by fear would only amplify this pathology, not heal it. And when Machiavelli says a prince must learn how not to be good, right? Nigerians already know this. And Peter Obi, for example, has already seen the limits of virtue, which is why he's going into this coalition, right? He has seen the limits of mass enthusiasm. He has seen how he could have won the elections, but the Nigerian power brokers made sure that his name was not delivered as the winner. When Machiavelli says fortune favors the bold, right? Nigerians already know this. In Nigeria, fortune belongs to those who command violence. Nigeria is a country where true power is those who have access to tools of coercion. When Machiavelli says appearances matter more than reality, right? Nigerians are already exhausted by appearance. They no longer believe what politicians say. They no longer trust institutions. They no longer assume that their neighbor will act in good faith. When Machiavelli says the prince is the foundation of the state, right? And Achebe, for example, talks about the ruler as the linchpin of political order. Nigerians have seen these princes come and go, whether it's soldiers in uniform, party dynasties, charismatic strongmen like Buhari, yet the state remains brittle. Why? Because the deeper foundation of trust, citizenship, and shared belonging has never been built. We have never had a nation. Nigerians are not even sure what it means to be Nigerian. Nigerians are not sure what citizenship entails. They do not know. Can I run for election in this state that I was born in? Somebody will remind you that your grandfather was not from this state. So my contention is that Nigeria does not need a Machiavellian prince. It needs social reconstruction, which I think that Obi began. But I fear that Obi himself is being taken away. And this is sort of my little I'm pushing Obi and people who support him to say this man that has given us a sliver of hope, can we push for him to be better? Because we deserve better. Not because he's the best of the worst, but because it is possible for him to be better. And that's, I think, precisely my argument.
All right. So let me correct something, please. I said Alistair Dan. It's not Alistair Dan. It's Alistair Campbell. It's Alistair Campbell. So for those.
Yes. I knew that that's what you meant, but I didn't want to correct you or something.
Oh, please. It's very important that you correct me because somebody would go and say, Mindset said it's Alistair Dan is Alistair Campbell, please. The spin doctor. Now, I mean, for me, I see your point. I see the point you try to make. I do not believe that one should take everything from the prince or become a maker, but I believe that there are things that one should take from that book, personally for me, and learn something from it and use it to their own benefit. I do not think there's anything wrong in politicians speaking with people who would help them get to power. Now, there's something else that you said. I forgot. I think there's something that you said. You talked about Nigeria, where people don't even trust each other. I mean, it has never been as bad as it is right now. For those who are older than me, or those who are younger than myself, those who knew what transpired in 1993. Now, please permit me, guys. I'm just going to go back a little bit because when we look at politics now, it appears that we are so divided as a people. It's either you're for the northerners now, or you're for the southerners, or you're from the southwest, or everything. It has never been this bad. All right. In 1993, we have somebody from the southwest, Moshood Abiola, who is a member of the SDP, and then you have another individual from NRC, Tofa, from Kano State. Now, and Abiola then had what's the name of is Babagana Kingibe, right? Please, somebody, if I made a mistake in the name, somebody please raise your hand and correct me. It's Babagana Kingibe. Both of them are Muslims. But within that time, Nigerians didn't look at it that we have Muslims. Nigerians, we are happy to vote for somebody that believed it, right? What happened is 2013, 2012, 2013, the whole narrative of Nigerian politics and the landscape began to change. And this whole thing formed by the APC as it stands then is what we are suffering right now. So the idea that Nigerians have been no, we have never been this divided politically. right? And I mentioned, because people will always say, oh, but then again, it happened. 1993, Nigerians voted for a Muslim ticket. I'm not saying anybody should continue to vote for it. But what happened then was that even in the Southeast, the person that was Tofa's vice was running out with him then is from the Southeast. Abiola did very, very well in the Southeast. Everybody knew that Abiola won the election. So it's all for us as Nigerians to look back and say, how did we get here? How can we change this narrative? So it has never been this bad before, but we are in a very, very bad position. Mr. John, I would have loved to pass the mic to you, but people will say...
It's okay. It's okay. No worries. No worries. When you have time, I can come back. It's fine.
Thank you very much. I wouldn't want it to appear that it's only myself, you and I.
I know. Thank you, but thank you for indulging me.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Now, Mr. Crack, Crime Crack, I'm not interested in speaking, and it has nothing to do with the speaker. I can use whatever emoji I want, except if you want to ban me from listening to your spaces, which is okay. Nobody's banning you from listening to the spaces. I never said I'm going to ban you. One thing I dislike is when somebody is saying their view and people are laughing at it. I don't find that funny. I mean, for you, it might not be anything, but if you think what Mr. Moore's view said, you're not comfortable with it, you can raise your hands and say, I disagree with you. Your first comment here, which I responded to, is you said, you people have started again. What does that mean? What are you trying to imply? That we started what again by saying Peter Obi will win the election and you're laughing about it? You think this is funny? Nobody's banning you, but if you choose not to be part of the platform, I'm not going to force you. But what I'm saying is this: if somebody had their view, you disagree with them, you can ask them, politely, raise your hand and be part of it. But this whole thing about emoji and laughing, I don't subscribe to it. What we are dealing here with what we're dealing. Sorry, I can't even speak properly right now. What we are doing here this evening is not a joke. So for you to laugh at somebody's view, I don't find it funny. I don't find it funny. But nobody's banning you. I don't ban people. I block people when they disrespect me or disrespect my speakers. But I'm just saying to you, please, sir, for whatever it will cost you, come back on the speaker section. Tell him why you think he's wrong. But laughing at him with this laughing emoji, I do not find it funny. Right? Okay. Guys, it's been a very interesting conversation. Mr. John will be back again. I think we're going to do a lot of reviews on books. If there's any other person who would like to add anything, Debayo, good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us. If there's any other person who would like to be part of the conversation, please do let us know. Raise your hand. I would pass the mic to you. Let me quickly read out what Mr. Tobin said. He said, thank you, Nathan John. Anyone who is not ready to operate out of the current Renewals paradigm better stay away and leave this system to run its course until the people come to the breaking point to take direct action, which at some point become inevitable. Now, I hear this thing. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. John, somebody here agrees with you. And let me quickly read out what Mr. Eze said. Okay, so well, things might change. I'm not sure who he's responding to. Things might. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm really struggling. I do apologize. Well, things might change as we approach 2027. But for now, I only see Tinubu winning. I personally will never vote ticket with Tinubu, El-Rufai, Atiku, and I like it. Okay, that's your own view, sir. Thank you. Might, I believe that's the name. Please, sir, I do apologize if I pronounce your name wrongly. It said option 1, ADC gives Peter Obi the ticket, ADC win. Option 2, Peter Obi moves to PDP, wins. Option 3, Peter Obi forms another coalition with LP and some other parties. A strategic individual, LP wins. Option 4, all of you now move. All right, so okay. Now nobody's moving mad. But thank you very much for your submission. Then let me quickly read out what Mr. Osazoa said. Okay, I think he's responding to somebody. So I do not think there's any need for me to read that out. Papa Chila said, "I said, don't bother yourself replying such people from me. I'm enjoying this space because I'm loving the different takes, honestly, from speaker. The space has been lovely. Great job. Thank you. I mean, Mr. Crack, I call him Mr. Crack. Crime Crack has been part of this platform, and I think I remember him right now. I remember who he is. You know, one thing I do on this platform is I want us to see ourselves, you know, we respect one another. Sometimes our views might clash, we might not agree with everybody, right? Mr. John and myself, we disagree in a lot of things. You know, he doesn't believe, or he thinks that one, as it stands right now, nobody needs Machiavellian style of politics. But I believe that there are things for one to learn from the Machiavellian part of politics, style of politics that will help them. So there's no insult. It's just we trying to, you know, change, have an idea. I'm learning a lot from him, like others. But if he's speaking and then I'm using a laughing emoji, it's very disrespectful to him. All I can do is to respond to him and say, John, Mr. John, I disagree with you. So laughing emoji, sometimes for me, I don't see the need. It's very insulting. That's the way I look at it. I might be wrong, right? When somebody aired their view, you're laughing at them. What are you laughing at? It's not funny. But I might be wrong anyway, but that's my view. Do we have any other person who would like to contribute anything? Mr. Adebayo, you have the mic, sir.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, yes. Very short. I like the conversation, and I want to appreciate that you bring topics, you know, in-depth analysis into our politics. I really appreciate all that. However, there is just something I wanted to say of a note that not everything, in response to your question that how did we get here, everything bad about this uh, Fourth Republic, since we enter into the Fourth Republic, everything going bad, in my opinion, I stand to be corrected too, started by the PDP party, not the APC. APC only came in 2013, 14. But when they begin to, you know, announce that politics a do or die affair, that is the beginning of what we are witnessing now. Remember in the morning, I said OBJ was more ruthless, politically ruthless when PDP were in power. And whatever APC is doing now is just a tip, in my opinion, the tip of the iceberg of what, how ruthless the PDP were in their time during their reign. Did I like it? No. I'm speaking as an individual now. I don't want to speak as a be bad supporter or follower. Let me speak as a regular. Did I like the way we are doing our politics? No. And my own no is not only for now. I never liked it from 1999. Can we change it? Yes. Should we change the way we do it? Yes. Can things get better? Yes. Do president administration can they do things better? Yes. Are they getting anything right? Answer yes. Although it is expected when we are also in opposition, never say anything good enough. So we are not in any way trigger anything. Everything about it, everything about the policy.
Sorry, Mr. Adebayo, I might have to come in here. I do apologize. Can you mute your mic for a minute, please, sir? I'm not sure if it's from my end. But I can hardly hear you. But I just wanted to ask those on the speaker session. if they can hear you, I would allow you to continue. Please, Mr. Roy, Mr. John, Big Sam, more of you. Please, were you guys able to hear him? Because it appeared that
we can't hear him. We can't hear him. There is some noise at the background. I don't know.
Right.
Can't hear him clearly.
Thank you very much, Sam. Let me quickly hear from others. Is there any other person? Let it not be only myself and Mr. Sam that is struggling. Do we have any other person who is able to hear Mr. John?
No. I think he has an issue with his mic. I could also hear the static.
So, Mr. Adebayo, unfortunately, it's not only myself. Quite a number of individuals were not able to hear you. So, if you're able to find a much better place or change your network, please do come back and would pass the mic to you for you to continue where you start. But it's been a very interesting conversation. Sorry, something just came up here. It's been a very interesting conversation. I really like the conversation. Let me quickly reach out what Mr. Ochoku. Please, sir, if I pronounce your name wrongly, please do correct me. He said, "Hello, I think he said observe. I'm gonna need to leave this platform to go and get my glasses." So, say hello, I observe that you completely avoided the aspect of Nathan's take on the subject of Nigerian statehood and issue of citizenship. Why is that? Don't you think the Nigerian state needs to be renegotiated? Sorry, the network keep dropping me. Nice face, by the way. All right, Mr. Ochoko, please, if I pronounce your name wrongly, I do apologize, but let me see. If you know me very well, I only try to respond to things that I think, will help the platform. It's not that I avoided it. If I continue to respond to everything that Mr. John has said, not only you, most people will say, is this platform only for yourself and Mr. John, right? If you look at my DM, some people don't want us to comment on the comment section. They will want others to air their view. I choose not to avoid any conversation. The worst that can happen is that people would dislike my take on it, right? But we continue the conversation. If Mr. John is happy to put it in a more better context, then I'm quite happy to respond to it. But thank you very much, sir, for joining the platform this evening. Do we have any more speakers? No more speakers, right? Roy, how are we getting on? Do we have any other person requesting for the mic?
Mindset, I would have liked to respond to you when I said something. There is something you said I needed to respond to you.
Okay, please.
Should I go?
Please go ahead, sir. You have the mic, sir.
Yeah, you like in this Anambra State election, you said that LP don't have any pathway to victory. There is something I want to remind you that during when Peter Obi contested election for governorship in Anambra State, he doesn't have any all those state gladiators, all those people that says what happened in government. Peter Obi don't have any. He contested as an individual. If you go back to how Anambra election is, you can never say that this might happen so time or this might happen, irrespective that Apuga have been in power since for a long time. And remember, it is Peter Obi that bring out that Apuga that have been reigning for so long. So for you saying now that another party don't have any chances of winning because of how our electoral this thing is, there is a way Anambra politics is. There is a way you can't just conclude it like that. There is a way Anambra politics plays. You cannot generalize it with how we play this in the general election of Nigeria. Anambra politics is very, very different. So that is what I wanted to respond to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Big Sam. I respect your view, right? I respect your opinion. And if you have time, please go back to my tweet of last year. I think I'm not sure what month I posted about it. I made it very clear where I didn't know who Moghalu is. I didn't know who was going to be. I said what I said last year, that Soludo will win the election. And I did mention that if there was one individual that would have given Soludo problem, in my own view, please, you might know better than myself when it comes to Anambra politics, but I'm just saying that on my own opinion. This is my opinion. That was the late Ifan Yuba, right? That's the only individual that I believe would have given Soludo a run for his money. But if you believe that the LP guy will win in Anambra State, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. My view is the LP guy will win nothing in Anambra State. That's my view. That's my opinion. But I respect yours as well. If you believe that he's going to win, that's okay. I am not going to stay here and say to you, you're wrong, I'm wrong. But let's see what happens in November. I don't see any pathway for him. But you can go back to my tweet. Just go to my tweet and put a number or something. And he wasn't contesting at that point. My view, my point, and everything, I made it very clear that the only individual I saw, I think, that will defeat Soludo is the late Ifeanyi, but since he's no longer there, I think within that time, he was actually the guy that left LP that people were hoping that would win the election. What's his name? Valentino Zibo, right? People were saying, I said, listen, there's no pathway here. It's called politics. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. So people were thinking that he is the one. If you read the comment on that post that I made last year when Valentine was still there, a lot of people, as always, names were called and things were said about my person, but it's okay. It is what it is. When I told somebody that there is absolutely no way Valentino Zibo will become LP's candidate in Anambra State, they argue with me. Grace of Valentino Zibo. So I don't like to argue, but I respect your view. Let's relax and see how it plays out. You probably might win, and I will congratulate you and say I learned something from Dixon. But thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful submission. Mr. John, you raise your hand. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mindset. And thank you to everyone in the space for indulging me. I know I've spoken many times. I just wanted to slightly add something. I think too, you said this Mindset and someone else sort of alluded to the fact that many of these things began recently. I just want to remind people, and mostly because, it's sort of part of the things that I research about how whatever we're seeing today in terms of a low trust culture, right, actually began long before APC and PDP. I think people forget how cyclical these problems are. Now, very briefly, I will just say that long even before colonial conquest, right, the lands that now constitute Nigeria were already marked by unequal relations of domination and mistrust. Now, think of the Sokoto Caliphate, which was established in 1804, which sort of expanded through jihad and conquest, right? The Emirates carried out systematic slave raids into what are now the Middle Belt and other frontier zones. Whole communities were depopulated, captives were sold across the Sahara or integrated into Emirate households or resettled as slave soldiers and agricultural laborers. So, what you see happening in the Middle Belt today, that people are being raided and communities are being sacked in Kwara, Benue, Plateau, Kaduna, all of these things happened in the 1800s. For those who were raided at that time, survival meant suspicion. Villagers learned not to trust their neighbors, who might collaborate with slave raiders, right? Kinship itself became fragile because betrayal could come from within. So whole communities developed a culture of watchfulness and paranoia, where vigilance against enslavement was as important as going to the farm to plant crops. The wounds of slave raiding from even before the 1800s, but as completely sort of concretized by the Sokoto Caliphate, left behind deep scars. A foundation of low trust society was laid back in the 1800s, right? Now, when the British conquered Nigeria, the territories that are now Nigeria, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, and fused them into this administrative unit we now call Nigeria, they did not erase the old mistrust. They hardened it. Through indirect rule, the British empowered the Emirates of the North. They installed warrant chiefs in the East. They privileged certain traditional rulers in the West. They created sort of what some scholars have called a federation of strange bedfellows, where everyone was suspicious of the others. What colonial authority did not do is to foster a shared political community. It relied on dividing and managing difference. And so when the British amalgamated groups that were rivals, enemies, and strangers, they did not create any serious project of forging trust between them. And so the colonial state was not a nursery of nationhood, but like a scaffold of distrust, right? Encouraging Nigerians to see themselves as not Nigerians, but Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Tiv, Kanuri, Fulani, right? Now, if you look at 1960, Nigeria inherited this brutal architecture. First Republic, 1960, it was dominated by parties that were not, they were regional fortresses. NPC in the north, a Action Group in the west, NTNC in the east. These parties competed not to build a shared polity, but to control federal patronage for their home regions. And so when elections happened, it just quickly became instruments of suspicion. They disrupted federal elections of 1964. There were boycotts, accusations of rigging, exposing how little trust bound Nigerians together. When the Western region's 1965 election descended into open violence, it confirmed that electoral defeat was not just routine politics, it was like existential loss. Now, the 66 coup that was led, famously by officers of Igbo extraction, assassinated certain politicians in the West and the North. It led to that counter coup where Igbo officers and civilians were massacred and the pogroms that followed, right? Nigerians at that point, they did not just fear bad governance, they feared annihilation by each other. And the Biafran War was the logical conclusion of that collapse of trust. Now, the recycling of that trust we saw in the Second Republic, when civilian rule returned in 1979 with that new constitution and the Second Republic, right? The NPN, although it was formerly national, was dominated by northern elites and accused of manipulation elections to entrench itself. The 83 elections were widely condemned as fraudulent, and it sparked unrest all across the country, right? Now, as in the First Republic, politics was not just a contest of ideas, but a struggle between groups that distrusted one another's motives, right? Now we can go on into the Fourth Republic and all of that, but I want to just emphasize this last fact before I drop the mic. Nigerians do not know how much pre-colonial slave raiding and conquest sowed suspicion between communities, especially in the parts of the country today that see this unrest in the middle belt in the north, right? Remember that with slave raiding, what happened? It was Muslim slave raiders for whom it was legal to go into the parts we call now middle belt, where I'm from, to go into villages like mine, to take people, seize them, turn them into slaves, kill them, and force them sometimes into emirate communities. And so we've always had this culture of distrust between each other. The fact that Nigeria was formed as a nation did nothing to remove this culture of mistrust. Where I'm from, I tell you one story, mindset. I did a project a long, long, long time ago when I was in university in Zaria. I went to the Emir's palace. This was 2 emirs ago. I was waiting for him because he had seen the project I did and he invited me to the palace to say, oh, thank you for the project you did in Zaria. When I went in there, the Dogare, people who historically are part of a slave class in the Emir's palace, they looked at me because they normally give you this short interview before you enter the Emir's palace to be sure you know the protocol, you don't say the wrong thing, or you don't disrespect the Emir. One of them asked me, where are you from? I told him I'm from Kaduna. Where in Kaduna are you from? I told him I'm from Zangon of local government. You know what he told me? He reminded me that our people, as far as whether it's Zonkwa or all the way outside to Kafanchan, used to be their slaves. He told me this face to face to my face. A person who was a slave in the Emir's palace told me that I used to be their slaves. That our job, especially people from Kafanchan, used to be bringing hay for the king's horses. So we do not forget these things. They are passed on to us. So people think, oh, the middle belt are second-class citizens in the north. It's just because these people are bad. No, it's what we have inherited from the 1800s, from slave raiding, from the way the Muslim caliphates were organized, from the way the British entrenched these systems of domination, from how these systems of domination passed into the Nigerian state, from how these systems of domination were written into the Nigerian laws and constitution, and how we now see this weird imbalance of power that makes some people have more power than others. Some people seem to have more legitimacy than others. Some people seem to have a sense of ownership of the country more than others. So I think it's a mistake to think that any of this started in APC, PDP. These are just successors to our historical dysfunction and to this marriage of strange bedfellows that the British forced. And that's why I'm very concerned about the people who just go on as if business is normal, who just go on as if Obi will just become president and everything will be fine. These deeply entrenched, policies and politics are there in our laws, are there in our societies, and keep getting worse. And unless we break at the foundation, we will just have another president that marginally does something good, and we will go back to the foundations. That's sort of my slight. I wish that more Nigerians read history and understand, where we are coming from. That whatever is happening in the Middle Belt today, these they go into a farm and kill people, cows. We've been having it since the 1800s. Thank you, Mindset.
Thank you very much, Mr. John. I wanted to interject. I wanted to interrupt you, but I think quite a number of persons we are interested in the conversation. I would have loved a situation whereby we ended the other spaces. The first one, then we started this one right now and then, because there's a lot of things that you said I would like to respond to. And personally, for me, I don't like to digress from topics to topic, but because you mentioned a lot of things, I would like to make reference to them. You see, the idea, when I spoke earlier on, I said some people think that what we are going through right now started, I made reference to 1993, right? That's when we, after the coup and whatever, what have you, we come back and we try to form a nation and everything. And I make reference to Alhaji, sorry, I make reference to MK Abiola, everything. I knew exactly what I was doing. I didn't want to go back to 1966, 1958, and prior to the colonial masters and everything. I wanted to bring it a little bit further for people to see that there was a time in Nigerian politics whereby whether you're Yoruba or your Hausa, what have you, people don't look at it. The people just wanted to vote for somebody who they believed in. Hence, I mentioned, I went back to 1990. But there's something you said, which I respectfully disagree with. You see, this notion, I think we're going to make time. I hope that will be fine with you and every other speaker. This notion that when we talk about the coup of 1966, everybody always make reference that it's an Igbo coup. It's not an Igbo coup. I think it's something that will make time, Mr.
No. It was I meant that in quotes. No.
Okay.
I just meant like the recorded version. I'm not. No. I know it's more complicated than that. Of course. I completely agree with you, Mindset. No. I'm sorry that if it came across that way. No. I mentioned it like the way it's recorded historically. But thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you very much, sir, because every now and then people always make reference that what happened in 1966 and everything. So I think we're going to make time. I don't know when. Please, nobody should hold me to this. I've made a lot of promises about the spaces I would like us to host, but I do not have enough time because there's other things that will always take my time. But I think we need to speak about these things more, because if we don't know our history, then how do we move forward as a people? Now, you mentioned what happened to you, which I'm really sorry to hear. When using that word that you use, when somebody used that word about your person, I don't think, it's much easier for you to speak about it. I don't know, you have the courage to speak about, but it's very belittling. It's very, so I do, I'm trying to find a word. You can borrow me a word if you wish, to express myself, how, I feel when you were talking about it, I don't think it's a, I felt sorry. I felt bad. And I think that's what I'm looking. I felt bad that you experienced such things in a country that you're part of and somebody used the word slave. I don't think it's the right thing for one to, um, I do not think, which I don't know. I say I'm short of what, Mr. John, but I do understand that we have to hear these things. Sometimes it's difficult, but we're gonna make time. We're gonna make time to learn more about our history because what have divided us can easily bring us back together. Now, we are not perfect. No country is perfect. Nigeria is not perfect, but I always say this, and people always look at it. What do you mean? I think Nigeria. I enjoyed Nigeria. Growing up in Nigeria, my childhood was not all that, but at least you can easily call people around. After school, you go and play football without knowing who owns the football. The only time you know who owns the ball is, if the person is not part of the game, they will say they're taking their ball and everybody will go home. That's how we know who owns the ball. But we have this society whereby whether you're Yoruba, your Hausa, your what have you, we all find a way to work together, right? And then it was fun taking the night bus. I don't know how many of you that took the night bus. I think I'm speaking. Sorry, people will know that mindset is a very old. So those that entered the night bus, from the east to south, from south to wherever you're going, from the east to Kano State, from Kano to if you're going to Lake, it was fun. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know, people didn't enjoy them because somebody in the car and the bus will start singing and everybody, you stop somewhere, people will eat, even if you don't have money, you find a way. That's what we call it, attached, right? We all enjoyed it. Stop somewhere to eat. If you don't have money, some people will look at you and say, "Oh, you don't, you're not eating." They'll find something for you. That was the Nigeria that I enjoyed. So this whole thing that people have decided to look at it from it has to be this person or this person. That's why I don't really get involved in such conversation because I really enjoyed my time when I lived in Ghana. I enjoyed my time when I was in Lagos. I enjoyed my time when I was in Port Harcourt. I enjoyed my time when I was in Akwa Ibom State and most of these states. I never experienced the thing where people look at you. This is where you're from. I've never experienced it. I don't know anybody have experienced it like Mr. John said. So thank you very much, Mr. John, and thanks to every other person on this platform. It's been really, really refreshing to listen to you, and we're gonna make time. We're gonna make time. We're gonna make time. Let me quickly read out what others said on the platform. Sorry, guys, somebody said on the DM. Somebody said, "Why didn't you record this space?" Mindset. This is one of the best spaces that you have hosted. I didn't know it was gonna be this good, right? As always, we open spaces and we discuss this thing. But thank you, guys. So, please, I'm waiting for those who would like to contribute. Mr. Ochogo said, "Thank you, Nathan, for your brilliant summary and recap of the ancient history of distrust and bad blood that characterized the unholy union called Nigeria. My question for you, do you think Nigeria should be renegotiated in line with the 1914 amalgamation division if needed?" Mr. Nathan, Mr. John, if you want to respond to that, please, let me read out some of the questions. Then, if you want to respond to them, sorry, sir, it's too bad. This space is not recorded. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was going to be this good. Papachilo Adenta say, "I love all he said, but I respectfully disagree that Peter Obi would make a good president. I have no doubt in my mind that PO will bring peace and unity in Nigeria. I must point out that some of the things we are facing now are basically reports by the APC style of politics." That is Mr. Adenta responding to Mr. John. And Stonehead said, "Thank you for that correction mindset." And Mr. Kenny said, "Mr. John is giving us a good history class. Kudos." So, Mr. John, do you want to respond to the question that Mr. Ochogo, please, this man or this guy, I do apologize, will butcher me, sorry, not butcher me, I'm butchering his name. He said, "Thank you, Mr. John, for your brilliant summary and recap of the ancient history of the distrust and bad blood that characterized the unholy union called Nigeria. My question for you, do you think you think Nigeria should be renegotiated in line with the 1914 amalgamation division if needed? Mr. John, do you want to respond to that, sir?
Yes, I could. So here's what I think. I think that one of the things that we must, at the very least, do is acknowledge that we have inherited a problematic union. That means, for example, for those of us in the North, acknowledging the legacy of slavery. You know, Americans do this all the time. They talk about this, talk about that. Nigerians have never talked about this. We have never talked about the fact that certain people in the North think it is okay to go into villages and kill 100 people, and that the state is so powerless in responding to this. We have never talked about the fact that many of the current emirs today are direct descendants of slave raiding, slave owning families. We have never talked about the fact that those of us who are now in states have not just been undermined, but trapped in our own prisons in the states that were created by the federal military government, leading to, for example, half the population in Kaduna knowing that they can never directly and legitimately seek the highest office in the state. Because there are certain people who say, although you are 50% of the population, you do not deserve, you cannot rule over the rest of us. We need, at the very least, an acknowledgement that this is the union we have been bequeathed. Now, whether or not we choose to unravel the union and say we don't want this anymore I think it's a separate conversation. But it is something we must talk about. I mean, we did an Oputa panel for the atrocities, some of the atrocities of the military government. We have never talked. Look, I want you to read, and I will recommend this essay to everyone here. It's called Slavery in the Sokoto Caliphate by Paul Lovejoy. The opening paragraph of that essay talked about people who were slaves in northern Nigeria as early as the 1980s. So when some of us were alive, there were people who were still burdened with this slave class label in certain extreme parts in the north, in some parts of Sokoto, in some palaces. No one talks about this because largely many of those people are poor. They've never come to sort of the public light. And many of those who even have this slave ancestry have dealt with it by sort of embedding themselves in in the more in the larger sort of communities of like free people. So either they became members of some emir's household or something, and then they just took on that identity and no one talked about it before. So this is only in the north I'm even talking. Now, between the north and the south, we have to also acknowledge that a lot of power imbalance exists. So yes, I do think that at least we need to talk about it. Even if we're not going to say we're going to dissolve the union, it is a thing that we must talk about. It's a thing that we must teach. It's a thing that we must say out loud to say this is where this idea of supremacy comes. White, people in America talk about white supremacy. Nigerians don't talk about the supremacy of the kingdoms that govern places that eventually became part of Nigeria. In the East, there are small groups that feel hard done by the majority group. In the West, it exists. In the Middle Belt, very strongly. And in the North. Unless we talk about this, Nigeria will continue the way it is, and we will continue trying to get scraps from the center like we're doing now, right? But beyond that, I do think that we have, for better or worse, created some semblance of a nation. I would not say it's a proper nation, but we have. And I think that with the right push, we can find expression. in this larger entity where there is justice. But there cannot be justice where our pain is not named, where the injustice is not named, where the pain, where the hurt has not been enunciated out loud, so that we can say, how do we move forward? So now we keep saying, how do we move forward? But we do not know what we're moving forward from. We do not know why we are where we are. And that's, I think, where the starting point should be. Why are we where we are? This is my answer to that question.
Oh wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. John. This is quite interesting. As I said earlier, if I knew what I do now, I would have ended the other spaces and we started a history space. I would just make it Nigerian history space. It would have been fun, right? And I can see that Roy managed to bring up two other individuals. I'm not sure where they're going to start. They are starting from what we discussed earlier on. Are they going to respond to Mr. John? But let's quickly hear from them. But let's be very mindful of time as well. Mr. Amadi, you have the mic. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I've been enjoying this space all along since I joined. But for me, I think I would like to talk about Nigerian elections. Sorry. So, I think in the past, like 1993 election conducted by Humphrey Mosu, it has been tagged to be the best election so far in Nigeria. But since then, other elections has been marred with so much violence and rigging. Because we are talking about Nigerian politics. So I also think
Roy, how are we getting on? It appears the speaker is no longer speaking.
I think you have dropped.
Okay. Is Roy still there?
I'm here.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, let's do we have another speaker? We have Mr. Patrick. I believe it's Patrick, right?
it was from the end or from the host. So let me continue from where I stopped. So I was saying that I hope you can all hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you. So I'm saying that after the election of 1993 conducted by Humphrey Mosu, which was marked to be one of the best elections Nigeria has ever had, the other elections have always been marred with so much violence and all manner of rigging. And I think it is high time Nigerians started doing a good conversation about how this can be corrected. Because it does appear that rigging has become the norm now in Nigeria. That when so many people are talking, they seem to base winning based on rigging. You could even hear some past politicians, or maybe some politicians, maybe who have in former time held a political position. When they speak, you see them say, I will win my ward, I will win the state. When they make all those type of comments, you see that the major thing that backs it up is rigging. Because I don't see how an individual will be saying, I will win this state. Or another person will be challenging another person, can you win your ward? You see, all those type of phrases and clauses are what Nigerians now use. Because these are people who now believe that winning an election today in Nigeria is something that has to be dependent on rigging, and which I really found to be Really very bad. So the last election of 2023, we all saw what happened. Aside the fact that some people who came out wholeheartedly to cast their votes as individuals were attacked, some beaten, some even killed. That's an aspect of what I'm saying. But we also saw another aspect whereby we now have some human rigging machines
Sorry,
who
sorry,
have
sorry,
been
Mr.
trying.
John. I'm going to butt in here, please. Permit me to. I'm not sure when you joined the platform, and I've made it very clear. We have a topic. Mr. John moved from that topic and started discussing something else. And then when you came up to as a speaker, I did ask a question: which side of this conversation do you want to go back to? And the whole rigging thing, electoral reform, is not what I'm discussing. And I think Mr. Doctor, there was a doctor earlier on that wanted to take me back to rigging and electoral this thing. I am not interested in that conversation, and I will tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm not interested in it. With respect, sir, after the 2023 election, you can go to my timeline. I started screaming about it. I hosted spaces about it. I spoke about electoral reforms. For some reason, best known to the opposition, they don't want to do it. All right? They don't want to talk about electoral reforms. Now, 15 months to the election, and people are talking about rigging, what happened in the election. It is not my responsibility anymore to talk about it. With respect, sir. So if you want to talk about what we started with, in line with ADC, that's fine by me. If you wanted to respond to what Mr. John have said, that's fine by me. But anything to do with electoral reform or rigging is left for the opposition to decide. I'm not interested in it. If that's okay with you, thank you.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I wouldn't want to change the discourse. I think where I entered, where I joined the conversation was where someone was talking about the ADC coalition and things like that. Okay, so like you said, I think I will have to respect that. Maybe when you choose to maybe do a topic on this particular one, I will also have to air my view on what I think about the situation. But let me talk about a bit about that ADC coalition. Today's Nigeria, it is really very, very obvious that most Nigerians seems to be backing Peter Obi. And when you hear about the first time they made mention about the ADC coalition happening, there was so much excitement in the air about that move. But after a while, all those hopes started dwindling because I hope to agree that a quite number of Nigerians, whom I deem to be in the majority, seems to be backing Peter Obi. And most of those people, especially the obedience movement, have their full backing on him, with him. So they believe that if the ADC coalition is to move forward, then it's right for them to try to do as much as possible to ensure that Peter Obi becomes the presidential candidate. Because when you look at what is happening in Nigeria, Obi seems to be a national figure. Obi seems to have sold himself so highly to the people that people so much believe in him and his presidency. So if ADC goes the way of trying to conduct primaries like the PDP did in the last election, most people believe that it wouldn't all go well in that way. seeing the precedents, the antecedents of what happened in the PDP election, whereby people doled out a whole lot of dollars to be able to buy delegates. So people believe that if they want to do a primary for ADC coalition to choose their candidates, that it will still have to toe that same line. Therefore, most people will definitely choose to back down because they know that someone like Obi will never buy anybody to vote for him. And those primaries, because it is not a kind of an election that individuals are allowed to come by their own volition to come and vote. It has to be something by appointment, chosen. Delegates are chosen to handle that. And if that happens, definitely those who buy delegates will still use it to try to win. So there is no how, unless we just want to be dishonest with ourselves, there is no how ADC will conduct primary election today without, and Peter Obi will win. It's not possible. He will not win because I know that those who buy delegates will buy delegates. And when they buy delegates, they will take Obi out. And therefore, that's what most Nigerians are hinging their legs.
Is Roy still there?
Yes, Mindset, I'm here.
All right. So there was another individual here, Mr. Patrick. He's no longer on the platform. He dropped as well. And we do not have any other speaker. I think we should start rounding up. And it's been a very interesting conversation. And Mr. Morview, you raise your hand. What is it regarding, sir? Mr. Morview, you raise your hand.
Yeah, Mindset. Thank you.
What this man said, this is Mr. John said earlier on. He said something. I have something to say in that regard. What I have to say, can I flow?
Yeah, please go ahead. As long as you're not digressing from the topic. Is there a question you want to make a contribution?
I just want to say a contribution slightly different from, but not. It's still in line with what we have discussed.
All right, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, what we are looking for to.
I don't want to sit here and reveal all my strategy. I am the first speaker among the three of us running. So they will spy on me. So you will have a limited answer here today. Another day you can bring me back.